Yes! Yes!
Hey everyone, and welcome to the official launch of what I am dubbing as Season 5 of The Completionist. For those of you joining us for the very first time, my name is Gerard Dragon Rider Khalil, and almost every single week of my life, I complete a game. It's man versus game right here on the show. New, old, indie, PC, it does not matter, I'll complete whatever and anything really. And after doing this for almost 4.5 years of my life, I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. Now, for the most part, Season 5 is going to try and strive to be a little bit more different than the rest. I'm going to focus a lot more on the nitty-gritty of being a completionist, focusing on the struggle and what it takes and really the man hours put into completing the game. It's going to be a little bit less of a focus on the information aspect of how to play the game and whatnot. And I want to try and focus a lot more on segments. I still also want to honor the show as we move forward by not self-referencing too much, but ideally, I want to make every episode of the show better, more cohesive, and for lack of a better term, complete. So with that said, today I'll be expanding my horizons by playing another Kirby game. You know, I guess that's not really expanding my horizons as much, am I? Training wheels. One day at a time. Kirby's fun! Sorry. Compared to its predecessor, Kirby's DreamLand 2 sees a definite shift in tone due to its definite shift in directors. With the seemingly immortal Masahiro Sakurai stepping down as director, it was up to Shinichi Shimomura to fill the gap. Starting with Kirby's DreamLand 2, Shimomura would go on to helm what would be known as the Dark Matter Saga, which also includes Kirby's DreamLand 3, Kirby 64, and Nightmare in Dreamland, in which he co-directed. Despite this impressive accomplishment, Shimomura's biggest claim to fame might be the fact that he simply dropped off the face of the planet. At a certain point, he stopped being credited on games altogether, and rumor has it that he passed away between 2002 and 2003. There may not be that much information on him, and it may be a rather dark piece of trivia for such a lighthearted video game series, but wherever you are, Shimomura, we honor you today by completing the first game in the Dark Matter Saga, Kirby's DreamLand 2. Fly on, Star Child! The original Kirby's DreamLand had a pretty simple plot, which involved Kirby going up against the lovable King DeDeDe for stealing all the food in Dreamland. But this time around, things get a lot darker. Pun intended. Pun intended. An evil force known as Dark Matter begins to take over Dreamland by stealing the rainbow bridges that tie all of Dreamland together, and by possessing King DeDeDe. Damn, Dark Matter's just as evil as it sounds. Now Kirby has to not only save Dreamland for the second time, but he's also going to save his mortal enemy, King DeDeDe. However, this time Kirby's not alone. He's got 3 animal friends that'll help him on his journey. There's Rick the Hamster, Coo the Owl, and Kine the Ocean Sunfish. Is it Kine? 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 I think it's Kine. Doesn't matter, you're gonna all tell me I'm wrong, so. What's an ocean sunfish? That's what I wanna know. An ocean sunfish is a thing? Not in my ocean. Not in my America. The Kirby games are clearly light in the plot department and work perfectly fine for what they are. Fun action-adventure games designed for simple pick-up and play. And my only experience in Kirby games thus far is Kirby's DreamLand 1 and Kirby Superstar, both of which you can check out right here. Other than that, I'm actually pretty intrigued by the Dark Matter trilogy. Kirby's got a lot to deal with when it comes to this evil energy. He may be out of his element. Are you gonna be okay, Kirby? Kirby? Kirby, talk to me, damn it, Kirby! Don't just eat things, damn it! Communicate! Use your words! As the Game Boy's technology advanced into the future, the games looked brighter, better, and crisper. Kirby's Dream Land established a baseline of what is a Kirby game, and Kirby's Dream Land 2 follows a lot of what was there from its foundation. Yet with that said, since this game was released on the later side of the Game Boy's life cycle, this game actually had Game Boy Color support. And what you're seeing right now is the game in its Super Game Boy form. For those of you unaware of what the Super Game Boy is, it allows people to play Game Boy games on their TV with more advanced colors with their Super Nintendo. So the developers are able to put a lot more time into the details. When everything is sepia toned, it's consistent, which is good. But with color, we can paint quite the canvas. And Kirby's Dream Land 2 does that quite nicely. Now, for those of you folks at home who are looking to get your hands on a Kirby's Dream Land 2, you can purchase it right now on the 3DS Virtual Console store, or you can go out and buy the Wii Kirby 20th Anniversary Collection.
Why didn't you play that one?
Alright, well, see, I love the Super Game Boy. A lot, actually. Now, most games look great in the original format on the Game Boy, but I always had fun putting a game into the Super Game Boy just to see if there were any kind of custom overlays or graphical changes.
Stupid! You should have played the other
Alright,
one.
get off my back! The Super Game Boy version does not disappoint. It's got all the fun characters on the side. My choice is justified, damn it. Just like the TV show. Go watch it. The music has evolved quite a bit from the original. I find that the first game's soundtrack was a bit more catchy, yet there's a surprising amount of depth in DreamLand 2's songs. Kirby's Dream Land 2 features an overworld UI, allowing the player to revisit previous completed stages. This is very useful for completionists later on, but we'll get to that, as you know we do. There's 7 worlds and several stages in those worlds, but you have the option of choosing which door you go into. A little freedom of choice, but not always, just sometimes. Look, I love Kirby's Dream Land. It's one of my favorites, but visually, I feel Kirby's Dream Land 2 is fairly close to the first one. Now, I'm talking visually with regards to character and enemy sprites as well as background locations. The color is its own thing. I'm not saying any of this is necessarily a bad thing, it's just something that I noticed. Hopefully the gameplay will bring a little more diversity. Okay, a lot more diversity. The gameplay in Kirby's Dream Land 2 is super duper simple and super duper familiar. If you hold up, Kirby fills up with air and can float all over the screen. He can still suck things in and eat them, or shoot them back out. With the power of his bottomless gut, he can murder everyone and everything. But here's the kicker, Kirby's got power-ups this time around, and animal friends. And the animal friends got power-ups too. Why in God's name would you arm this cute, lovable being with an insane arsenal? Kirby's new power-ups in this game eventually became staples of the Kirbyverse, and they're just as straightforward as you'd imagine. Burning turns Kirby into a lovable flame ball of destruction. The cutter ability essentially turns Kirby into Cutman, with the ability to throw out a blade-like disc that, well, cuts. The ice power sees Kirby vomiting ice everywhere. And Needle turns Kirby into one of those weird anti-stress spike ball things that people use. Needless to say, don't touch Kirby. Spark turns Kirby into a little electric ball of doom. I'm sensing a theme here somewhere. Stone makes Kirby turn into a rock that's completely invulnerable. Shoutouts to Smash Bros though. And last, but certainly not least, the Parasol. Yes, a Parasol. And honestly, this thing is fierce. You do not want to stand in Kirby's way when he's wielding this bad boy. In fact, I think parasols in general are severely underrated as weapons. Anything that can fend off rain, excess sunshine, and other natural threats is something I want in my arsenal. Let's discuss Kirby's 3 animal friends. If you couldn't tell by the adorable sprites all around the screen's borders, these animal pals possess all kinds of different and fun techniques. Rick the Hamster has to be the best one. He's the land dweller, being that his sprite is big, and that he is able to safely walk on top of the various terrains of DreamLand. Fun fact, Rick actually means land in Japanese, so it fits well. Coo the Owl, with Coo being Japanese for air, is exactly what you'd think it'd be, an owl that carries Kirby and his talents. The combo of these two dudes is unstoppable, although technically Kirby can just fly, but whatever. Lastly, there's Kine, the sunfish with Kai meaning sea. This sunfish performs the miracle of making all of the game's sea portions bearable. The trade-off is that if he leaves the water, he's hard to control and kind of just wiggles around. The best part about all 3 of these animal friends is that Kirby can combine his powers with them. The animals can use the power-ups such as burning or ice in an incredibly accelerated form, making for a scary-ass tag team. It's like the Dudley Boys from the WWE. They're so powerful that they put people through tables. Yeah, so I watch wrestling. Tons of people do. Step off!
Going after the tag team champ! Oh my God! What's up? What's up? Demon! This is incredible! I can't believe it! It's time! 3D! Dudley! Death drop!
Added as a fun bonus to every stage are these collectible stars. They're similar to that of the Yoshi coins from Mario World, in that when you collect enough, you'll be rewarded with an extra life. And if you make it to the end of the level, you'll get another chance to win one more by playing the jumping minigame. You'll also get a chance to collect some bonus items as well. There are 7 worlds that have a set amount of stages across the board, from anywhere from 3 to 7. All the locales are much more vibrant and diverse than the first game. However, every world has one of 7 items known as a rainbow drop. These rainbow drops, while optional, are required to complete the game. These provide a fun challenge, as you'll need to combine your abilities with the animal pals to unlock them. Every world has several mid-bosses and actual world bosses that, in my opinion, are pretty easy. You'll struggle a bit at first, sure, but nothing is ever too crazy in regards to the bosses. And after you clear the world, you can revisit the bosses for a rematch to collect more lives. I wouldn't worry too much about lives. While this game is a bit harder than the first one, you'll have plenty of lives and continues as you move forward. It's all smooth sailing at Kirby's DreamLand 2. Just kick back, inhale a monster, and swallow. Or spit him out. It's whatever, it's all good. No strings attached. After traveling all over DreamLand, from grasslands to icebergs to even cloudy parks, we eventually end up at Dark Castle. Making your way through the treacherous castle isn't too challenging, but it may deliver a strong sensation of deja vu. Mid-bosses and big bosses from previous levels appear here, reminding you that you've come a long way and that you still have a long way to go. The next stop on your journey is fighting the one and only King DeDeDe. This version of King DeDeDe is very similar to his incarnation from the first game, except he's maybe a bit more evil. His patterns may be a little bit different, but this boss is very familiar. Now, here's where our completion bonus will actually come in a little bit earlier than usual. If you beat King DeDeDe without having all 7 raindrops, you get a real crummy ending. Kirby is sad, the animal pals are sad, everyone just seems sad. It's kind of a weird vibe overall, especially for a Kirby game. However, collecting all 7 rainbow drops will allow Kirby to get the rainbow sword. With his brand new weapon in hand, Kirby is ready for his final battle with the dark matter. Now this fight is legitimately tough. The patterns are hard to read and the boss has a lot of ups and downs in his jukes. Your best bet is to focus on trying to go where he will go, land a few hits, and then run like hell. Beating the game at this point will show off the true ending, with Kirby riding his sword like a fluffy pink boss. And everything is happy. Yay! Now game save files in Kirby's DreamLand 2 actually shows off percentage meters. And in order to fill them up to 100%, you'll need to complete the bonus boss fights in every world. You'll also need to rescue the girl blob in the game. Doing so will unlock music playback and a boss rush mode. With boss rush mode, you can battle all the bosses in a row. Doing so will give you the same ending, but the end screen will be a little bit different. Heed thy warning, I do have to add, you only get 1 life to survive the entire process. So, good luck. Kirby's DreamLand 2 is a pretty easy game. It is harder than the original, sure, but overall, it's a really chill time. At first, I did have some trouble understanding how the animals work, but with a little elbow grease, Kirby's DreamLand 2 was overall pretty fun. Here's some fun stats for you guys. In my playthroughs of Kirby's DreamLand 2, there were 15 deaths, 3 girl blobs rescued, 3 full playthroughs, one of which was boss mode, and another of which included getting 100%. 18 different times I used the animals, and 8 bosses put through gigantic tables. Kirby's DreamLand 2 takes us to a bit of a darker place, and the difficulty does get a slight bump, but it still delivers the traditional Nintendo goodness that one would expect from this beloved franchise.
Kirby's Dream Land 2 is a lot of fun. As a completionist, is it worth completing over and over again? I would beg to differ. I think that it's a fun game to play once or twice. Completionist-wise, getting the ending is fun. Missing it's kind of boring, because then that's all your hard work. Luckily, you can just go back and do that stuff. The boss rush mode is a good challenge, and the bonus modes in between each world, going back and playing those bosses too, that's a pretty good time. But overall, a lot of stuff to do for a game that has little payoff. So, with that in mind, guys, I give this game my completionist rating of Finish It.
Finish it!
That's all the time we have for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. A big, big, big thank you to Satchel Drakes for creating the Season 5 intro and giving us new assets, the new Completionist logo. You're the best. You give me so much inspiration and creativity, brother. I love you, man. Thank you so much. Next week, we start Superhero Month. I hope you guys are excited. We're going to tackle Arkham City first, so get ready for that. Now, if you excuse me, Mark, let's go take a peek at the Dudleys and their fun adventures in Dreamland.
Bubba Ray Dudley!